Isaiah Thomas this time against Anderson. Into the lane for the left-hander. Rodman, maybe the top offensive rebounder in the league. He gets better than 4 of those per game. Without question, the most balanced team in the NBA. And a major key to their success. Edwards forcing Robinson out. Shot clock at 4 for Anderson. And now Cummings. Got it off in time. And Rodman may have had a piece of it. And we may also have a loose ball foul inside. Or they'll say a shot clock violation because the ball didn't hit the rim. They lead the all-time series 21-13, but they've lost 3 in a row in this building. And the Pistons swept last year, the first time they have ever won a season series over the Spurs. Dennis Rodman, not much of an offensive threat, but if he dunks it, then you don't want to see him get into their offensive flow. And Lambier slamming the floor after the foul call by Joe Forte. Lambier has really calmed his act down this year. He's only been called for a handful of technicals. Rod Strickland. Anderson. Rejection Rodman. Edwards will kick it ahead to Dumars, who will not challenge the Admiral. Not from inside anyway. The Pistons get their first lead.
And there you see one of the reasons why Dennis Rodman is such a coveted player. As we said, he's not a skilled player offensively, but he's the preeminent defensive player in the league at his position. And at 6'8", you see how high he can sky and block shots. Here's that block by Dennis Rodman, who just got, look at the timing on this as he swats it back in Sean Elliott's face. And that triggered the Detroit fast break that ended in the Joe Dumars jumper. Pistons do that better than any team in the league. The high pick and roll. This time, Lambier flashes out for the long jumper.
And Cummings in and out. Rodman clears, delayed a bit by David Robinson. And you hope they don't keep hitting the way Dumars and Lambier have so far. Robinson. Good defense by Edwards, and the tap won't go. David staying after it. Lambier. Strickland gambled for the outlet. Dumars spins, and there is Rodman, and it goes. At the other end for 3. Cummings not there. And Rodman already with his first fist pump of the night. And Detroit with their first 4-point lead.
We said that Rodman's not a polished offensive player. Oh, and they got it going now, Dave, as Isaiah Thomas knocks down the 3. I was just going to say that while Rodman's not polished, he is incredibly athletic.
And what an effect he has on this crowd. The 3-pointer by Thomas after the amazing scoop shot by Dennis Rodman. And with 3:05 in the first, Detroit by 7.
That might not be the case otherwise. Isaiah Thomas triggering the 3-on-2 break. Joe Dumars then kicks it back to Dennis Rodman, who loses control of the ball, but before he hits the floor, scoops it back up and in. Dennis Rodman so versatile that at 6'8" tonight, at times tonight, he will be matched defensively against 7'1" David Robinson.
35-31 Detroit. Strickland to Wingate and blocked at the end of the first quarter. So the Pistons have the defensive stop after 1. An unbelievable offensive show by both, and they lead it by 4, and we're back with more Spurs ball after this from Diamond Shamrock.
Really a tough shot by James Edwards, who had to put a lot of arch on that. When they call James Edwards Buddha here because of his tranquil appearance, and they say they're going to ride the Buddha train to another NBA title.
Rod Strickland from outside. Easy rebound for the rebounding leader for the last 7 years until Dennis Rodman appeared on the scene. Rodman with the slam gives them their third 7-point advantage. But not many of them. Outside shot, Lambier. Usually automatic. And Rodman one-hands the rebound. And then gives it up to Elliott. Spurs trapping Dennis Rodman to take it away. 5-on-4. Rodman still flat on his back as Anderson converts at the other end, and back within 5 come the Spurs.
And that time the Spurs give Dennis Rodman a dose of his own medicine. Of course, he's known as such a scrappy, persistent player, and the Spurs just took the ball away from him, resulting in the jump shot by Willie Anderson.
Again, they double Rodman. Edwards is the beneficiary. Rodman, as we have said, not known as an offensive threat unless he's in the lane, and then he can be hard to stop. 68-61.
James Edwards now with 14 points, despite the fact that he's playing with a very sore, sprained right wrist that left him doubtful for tonight's game.
Rodman flopping, and he gets what he wants here. The offensive foul on Cummings, his third.
And Dave, he's got to be the best at that. Dennis Rodman matched up on Terry Cummings, and they get TC for the offensive foul. You know, Rodman has such a reputation as an excellent position defensive player that he's going to get a lot of calls like that regardless of what actually transpired on the floor.
Dumars. Where did he find Edwards? Amazing pass. And Rodman again on the offensive glass, keeping it in the hands of the Pistons. David for an answer. Not there. Rodman controls. He had Dumars. Didn't see him, though. He had a wide open Joe Dumars. Frank Rakowski's checked in for Terry Cummings. Elliott against Rodman, and again the slightest contact sends him veering backwards, and again he draws the offensive foul, the first on Elliott.
Well, he's got it down to a science. He's always looking for this play. That's why he's so valuable. This time I don't think you could actually say that Dennis Rodman was stationary. Matter of fact, his right foot was still in the air when contact was made.
That's how much respect he gets, though. I mean, he made the All-Star team this year strictly because of his rebounding and defense. You can count on one hand the people who have done that in the NBA. And the officials know things like that. You get a reputation, and sometimes the reputation will do just as much work as what you can do yourself on the floor. That's 18 for Dumars. Rodman against Cummings. That time, Terry getting away with using that left arm to clear space, but he still loses it out of bounds. Well, they weren't going to give Rodman the third offensive foul in the quarter, but they might have here.
And yet that time, he actually had a case because Terry did clear out with the offhand.
We talked about Rodman's reputation. Hey, Terry Cummings ought to have a reputation. As many years as he's been great in this league. Rodman for the putback, way short. Laimbeer, one more chance. Double figures for Bill Laimbeer. And Larry Brown, as his club again falls down by 7, calls timeout.
He's amazing, Dave. He really is. He can't run, he can't jump, and he's in his 10th year in the NBA and is certainly a very valuable player on arguably the best team in the league.
He can shoot and he can think and bang and get you to forget about your game because you're mad at him. Wingate on the drive to Brick. And the Spurs go cold here late in the third quarter.
The Hank Stram of the NBA. Here's Terry Cummings backing down Dennis Rodman and fights through, and ooh, and look at that flipper as Rodman ends up on his backside again.
And again they work Laimbeer free. Jones there for the board with 1:18 in the quarter. Cummings blocked by Laimbeer and off the elbow of Terry. It belongs to Detroit.
Look at the emotional reaction by Bill Laimbeer, who probably got higher off the floor than he has in the last 6 years. Now watch this. You could actually slide a crisp dollar bill underneath Bill's shoes, between his shoes and the floor. Nice job defensively by Bill Laimbeer.
And that is the margin. 70-67. Last time this one was close. Robinson fumbling it away to Rodman. And they've really got David out of this game now. Underneath, Sally powers it up inside of Wingate. First double-figure game in the last 4 for the Spider, and it's a 20-point Detroit lead at 89-69. 14 for David, 101-85. Rodman against Cummings. And stays right in his face, but commits the foul. That is his third. That was a great look at the individual defense of Rodman. Most coaches say this is, if you have to have one stopper win a game on defense, this is the man you want.
It would have to be Dennis Rodman. Look how quick he elevates. Now, if the Pistons go on and win this game, Dave, at least for the moment, they would have the best record in the NBA at 48-15, a half game ahead of the Lakers, and get into Chicago fairly early tonight and have a chance to get a good night's sleep and prepare for tomorrow's game against Michael Jordan and the Bulls.
They bought that jet from the Dallas Mavericks, who have rued the day ever since. They say the very first year they got it 3-4 years ago, it was worth 5 wins just on rest, being ready to play in a back-to-back situation. When they traded Dantley, he said that's the toughest part about leaving Detroit. He's going to miss that round ball one. Cummings and Rodman separated, but I think for no reason. They weren't even looking at each other, and I think that people jumped in where nothing was about to happen. We'll check it again.
Terry a little bit frustrated, but Rodman did not even try to engage Cummings. He just walked away from the whole thing, which may have been a good move on his part. There you certainly see that Rodman caught the right shoulder of Terry Cummings. Dennis Rodman, kind of a controversial player in the league because he's so emotional on the court. A lot of people question whether or not it's honest. And yet, there was a situation a couple of weeks ago in a game against the Rockets when late in the game, Dennis Rodman blocked Hakeem Olajuwon's shot to get the game into overtime. The Pistons ultimately won that game. And at the moment Rodman blocked Olajuwon's shot, there were tears in Rodman's eyes. He was that emotionally pumped up about the whole thing. So whether you like Dennis Rodman's style of play or you don't, one, I think you have to admire what he brings to the Detroit Pistons. And two, a lot of people do not question his sincerity. They say that the reactions you see on court come from the heart.